Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, the omniscient, omnipresent, and all-knowing God, we want to register this morning our sincere thanks to you.
I understand that you say in your statement that you were tortured into giving a confession statement. Can you tell us about this torture?
In fact, what happened after I was arrested for the hand grenade blasted in Flongos Place, I was taken to Protea Police Station and was detained under Section 29. And it's where
Archbishop, it may be appropriate to stand this witness down, and we can call the next witness, Commissioner 5.
Commissioner Fivers. Yesterday, and you came, and I'm very sorry, but everybody, we are running very far behind our schedule.
God.
So help me God.
Thank you. You may be seated.
She is a briefer, just in.
Quiet. South Africa was liberated by the youth. When we have time, we'll share that story. The ANC in 1940s was dead until Mandela came in as the youth, and Walter Sisulu and Noah Tambo developed what they called a program of action that revived the ANC, and ANC adopted it in 1949. ANC was a sweetheart organization which used to fight through letters to London. This youth said we must take up arms and fight now. The ANC agreed in 1949. That's what made the ANC to be what it is. When they got arrested in the 60s, down the line in the 60s, Steve Biko emerged, was a young person, black consciousness. That led to 1976, that was the youth. What O.R. Tambo said to the youth of South Africa in the 80s, render South Africa ungovernable and unworkable. The youth did that. In 1985 and 1986, South Africa had a permanent protest every day to a point where martial law was declared, state of emergency, twice in 1 year. Because they declared the first one, the youth were saying, we don't care, do what you want to do. They had to declare another one because they thought the youth didn't hear. But they heard and they were defiant. And that's what brought 1994 because of...
What a beautiful name. This monarch of Swaziland, he has changed a colonial name, Swaziland, to Eswatini. South Africa, we still don't have a name till today. Because South Africa is not a name, it's a direction. South of Africa, it's not a name. We need a name for this beautiful country. This country shall be declared Azania because it is Azania. So we don't want to be called South Africa to please the colonizers. We are Azania. That's who we are.
Mixing politics with religion is unacceptable in Singapore. We have always taken a firm stance against this. First, it fractures the common space we share as Singaporeans. Second, once elections become contests of faith, all communities in our society will end up worse off. Third, external powers will seek to exploit these fault lines to advance their own agendas. And as we have already seen, these challenges and threats are very real. Now, this does not mean that we cannot engage and address the needs of our different communities, or even talk about race and religion. I myself make a point to engage these different communities. I know it's harder for our minority groups, as it is in any multiracial society, and I'm grateful for their efforts in upholding our social compact in Singapore. The engagements I do help the government to better understand the concerns and needs of our diverse communities so that we can address concerns and issues in a way that expands our common ground and strengthens our society. But
there is no freedom without the shedding of blood. I'm sorry to have to say that. Nonviolence is not going to bring the land back to us. Our unity will keep us from having to fire a shot. But if we are not united, the only way we're going to get what belongs to us is to make up our minds either to live to get it or die trying to get it. And when you are willing and not afraid anymore to pay the price for freedom, don't let this white man tell you that violence is wrong. Every damn thing that he got it by being violent, killing people, raping and robbing and murdering. He's doing it as we speak. And then he has the nerve to come and tell us that violence and hatred won't get it. Don't buy that. He's worthy to be hated. Worthy. Because of the evil that he does. God hates. I don't know why man think you're better than God when God in the Bible said he loved Jacob but he hated Esau. In the Bible he said no man can serve two masters. He'll love one and hate the other. They have made us little sheep that they can walk over and run over, but when we decide it's over, and we should make that decision, it's over, we're not taking it anymore, and we cannot pass on to another generation the legacy of our cowardice when we know the problem and won't move to erase the problem. That's our fault. We gotta change. See, one of the things that our ancient people knew, yours and mine, when it got to the point where they would be extinguished, they had to fight. Even if they lost, they had to fight.
Because they can't defeat my political ideas. They want to use the courts and abuse the state power and the security forces to suppress my voice. And they will never win against me. For because I'm not scared of prison. When you are a revolutionary, prison is your nickname. Because when you join the revolution, there are two things that will happen. You either attain what you stand for, or you'll be killed for what you stand for. Not prison can stop me from executing that which I stand for. No racist magistrate can stop me from executing that which I stand for. No small boy of a prosecutor can persecute me and jail me for what I stand for. For because I'm not scared of a magistrate, I'm not scared of a prosecutor, I'm not scared of a judge, I'm not scared of a president, I'm not scared of capitalism, I'm not scared of white monopoly capital, I'm not scared of anyone. I want all of them combined. The day of victory shall come. Because that day we are destined for. And when you are destined for victory, no one can stop you from making it to that day of victory. So fighters, we must never be shaken by persecution of our leadership, not only in the courts, but in the media, through journalists that are part of the establishment. We must not be scared of those who are using state institutions like SARS, like the Hawks, like the police to try and suppress a dissent. Comrades, when we joined and took the position to go against the ANC, we all knew that this is part of the price we'll have to pay. So when it happens to us, we are not shocked. We are always ready for that day. And when that day comes, we know that day has arrived. The enemy has decided to pass.
All right. I greet you all, freedom fighters. I greet you all, genuine Biafrans. I greet you all, lovers of freedom. If today is the first time of coming across our video, and you like the way we are propagating this gospel of Biafra, you like the way we are propagating this gospel of revolution, please subscribe, like, and share. Very important. I believe you all listen. You all watched the video. You heard what was said in the video very, very, very well. You see, it's high time for us to take this Biafra freedom serious. Whatever we are doing today is not a new thing. Whatever we are doing today is not a new thing. Others have done it in the past. Others have done it in the past. You listen to what Jojo said, Julius Malema said, when South Africa was fighting for the liberation. You heard what Jojo said, how South Africa was named. This has been the case. This has been the argument of MNK about Nigeria. How Nigeria was named. This has been his argument. That white man or white woman cannot just come from nautical miles from Europe, come down to Africa and say, henceforth from today, you are a nigger area. And we accepted the name, answering the name. And nobody have ever, even the indigenous people have not even said, we got to change this name. This has been the argument of MNK. You also heard what was his name? Julius Malema said. I said, when freedom fighters talk, you will know. When a revolutionary leaders talk, you will know. You heard what he said. And this is our case today. You also watched the day Mandela was brought to court. As today, MNK will equally be what will bring to court. They will bring him to court today also. You watch the video. They brought Mandela to court. This same Mandela they brought to this court during the apartheid regime in South Africa was later gave peace award globally. You see how he was chained with his fellow freedom fighters. You see how they were brought to court, humiliated. You saw how he died. The day he died, virtually every president of the world, the people who couldn't attend to the burial, they sent a condolence. This same man you saw in this video is the same man that the world president, world head of state and prime minister recognized, and they gave him peace award. According to, is it Mandela, at first they will laugh at you. Later they will call you criminal. But at the end of the day, they will praise you. This is a journey. Once you said you want to fight for your liberation, once you said you want to fight for your liberation, these are the things you are bound to see. These are the things you are bound to see. You can't escape it. You cannot. You can never escape it. And you heard what that man also said, that black American man said, you cannot fight your freedom with bare hands. You need kala. You need boy to fight for your freedom. You can't fight your freedom with writing paper, submitting paper, writing junk. You heard what Julius Malema said. Said during ANC time when they were fighting for apartheid. They were writing letters, sending letters, doing this, but when Nelson Mandela pick up the youth wing, they pick up arms and say, what? Enough is enough. This same Mandela, that the day he died, the day he was buried, virtually every head of state, president of the world, captains of industry attended the burial. When he led ANC to fight for the liberation of South Africa from apartheid regime, he picked up arms. So whatever we are doing today, believe you me, both nature, no laws justify whatever we are doing today. They would only put fear. They will only call you terrorists to know if you can chicken out. Like what we are seeing today, the people who started this Biafra with, some of them have chicken out. Some of them, if not majority of them, have chicken out. If you see the way they are talking, they are speaking in the same language with the oppressors. They are speaking in the same language with the oppressors. The same land, the same Biafra land we said is not developed, that we are fighting to liberate our land and build our land to our taste. Today, they are crying that land that is no good infrastructure, no multinational company, no federal government presence in that same Alaibud, in that same Biafra land. This was what we agreed on before fighting for this Biafra restoration, that even NMPC, the headquarters is not even in the so-called Niger Delta. It's in Lagos and Abuja. Look at Ogoniland. They've been promising, they've been using it for campaign that they will claim Ogoniland. Have they done so? Have they done so? These are the things we said. Because of this thing, we will fight to liberate our land. Today, people whom we agreed swore oaths to fight to liberate our land from damnation called Nigeria. Today, they are crying for the preservation of our land in Nigeria. They are crying for the preservation of our land in Nigeria. They are crying that, how can you fight your freedom with Kala? Look at Nelson Mandela picked up arm. You heard what that American man said. You cannot fight your freedom and get your freedom by mere talk. Not by what I am doing here, not by this thing I'm doing here. We cannot get Biafra by all this talk I am talking on social media. I'm only creating awareness and awakening the subconscious mind of our people. The people doing the real deal are men on ground, the Biafra Liberation Force. They are the real deal. They are the real deal. What these guys are doing today is what Nelson Mandela led ANC and wing to do when they were fighting apartheid regime. That is why most of us, we know, had they been, they never fought for the liberation of South Africa. Like Bishop Ozobo, we know he made his money from South Africa. A lot of that land of South Africa blessed a lot of Igbos. And the people paid with their blood. People paid with their life to make sure that what our people went to South Africa in search of greener pasture, as God may have it, they survived and made it. Some people paid with their blood for them to achieve that greatness, for them to achieve that success. They paid with their life. Now we are talking about Biafra now. People that traveled different countries that fought for freedom. God blessed them in that land. Instead of them to say, this country we are, they fought for their freedom. Oh. Now my people is fighting for their own freedom. Oh. How can I support? How can I contribute to make sure that my land is liberated? How this land I made my fortune was liberated before I come to make it. Freedom fighting is not a child's play. It's not a child's play. It's not. It's a business, is a game of men and women with rugged mind. You also listen to what Julius Malema said. It's all about philosophy. Say they try to use state actors and non-state actors to make sure they demoralize him from his political philosophy. But he never allowed them. He never allowed them. You also heard what I've forgotten if, I don't know if it's the Prime Minister, but it's from Singapore. He said they don't mix religions with politics. They don't mix religion with politics. It will crash. That is why I'm of the opinion you don't mix religion with freedom fighting. You don't. It has its own ethics. You don't mix it together. No, you don't. And freedom fighting. No. You don't do so in freedom fighting. You don't do so. You don't fight freedom with Christian mentality. No. You don't do so. You listen to what these great men who have fought for freedom and know what freedom is all about. People who have done series of research and know what freedom fighting is all about. Now some people, they are now preaching for the preservation of Nigeria. They are preaching for the preservation of Nigeria. The same people that vow that they despise Nigeria. What was that name they normally call Nigeria? That Zoo and the Janjaweed soldier. When last do you hear them call Janjaweed soldier? When last do you hear them call Janjaweed soldier? When last did you see them on social media propagating about Biafra? When last? They are nowhere to be found. They've all disappeared from social media, black people. And most of them are in different countries. And if they will be complaining of racism, they will be complaining of racism. Now is the time for you to fight for your own freedom. You couldn't do so. You couldn't do so. You just chicken out. But we are in another man's country saying they are doing you racist. Say they are doing you racism. You are in another man's country complaining. The same country you are complaining of, their fathers and forefathers fought for that land, for that place to be the way it is before you travel to that country. Now opportunity have called for you to fight for the liberation of your own land. You chicken out. You're shaking out. Anyways, our own is to be here, to be sensitizing you guys. But don't forget, the people who are doing the real deal are men on Ground Zero, Biafra Liberation Army. That is why we cannot joke with those men. The likes of Igbe Butuzo is like Nelson Mandela during the time they were fighting against apartheid government. The likes of Nelson Mandela, you see, of blessed memory, is like Igbe Butuzo, the triple general, because he is the one that led ANC arm wing. The way Igbe Butuzo is leading Biafra Liberation Army today, and you are calling him all sort of names. Look at Nelson Mandela, they called all sort of names. At last, what happened? At last, what happened? If you come across this video, please like and share. I want you to follow our backup channel. I greet you all. Peace and love.